LitAchieve Academy. In today's video, we are diving deep into the NET 2024 August Shift 1 question paper. I'll be taking you through all 100 questions, breaking them down and providing detailed explanations to help you with your revision. Question 1. Which among the following is not a state of human mental disposition as posited by Jack Lacan? So according to Lacan, there are three mental dispositions. They are the imaginary, the symbolic and the real. The question is, which among the following is not a state of human mental disposition? So the correct answer would be 1. The historical order. Question 2. The poetic line, there is one great society alone on earth. The noble living and the noble dead appear in the Prelude. Who wrote Prelude? The Prelude was written by William Wordsworth, one of the key figures of English Romanticism. Initially, this poem, the Prelude, was titled as the poem to Coleridge because it was addressed to his close friend Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Question 3. What does an eponymous character mean? The answer is 2. An eponymous character gives his or her name to the title of the work. For example, Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling is an example of an eponymous character. Then question 4. Epigram. So what is an epigram? The correct option is 3. A short poem with a witty turn of thought or a wittily condensed expression in prose. You can find that in Pope's work. Okay, he has written to err is human, to forgive divine. It's an example of epigram. The second option, epigon. What is epigon? An inferior or derivative follower of a more distinguished writer. So in many Roman poets like Virgil were considered epigons of Homer because they imitated his epic style and themes in works like the Aeneid. The third option, C, deixis. So what is deixis? C is 4, a term used in modern narratology to designate the narrated events as a level distinct from that of the narration. So Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is an example of deixis because it includes the world of Elizabeth Bennet, her family, her interactions with Darcy, details about the estate, dances, all contribute to the deistic world. Okay. Then option D, elision. The J wouldn't come in elision, so kindly cut it down. Elision. So what is elision? The slurring or suppression of a vowel sound or a syllable. So for example, you have some words like gimme, right? I'll just put it down for you. Gimme. It's an example of an elision. It's not actually gimme, okay? It's gimme. Gimme is elided to gimme, alright? So this is an example of elision. You wouldn't have J in elision. Then question 5. Arrange the following Indian writers in the correct chronological order of their birth. So the correct option is 3. Sri Aurobindo, Sarojini Naidu, K.S. Venkataramani, R.K. Narayan, followed by Raja Rao. So how can we remember this? The first option would be Sri Aurobindo and Sarojini Naidu. These people were born in 19th century and they were involved in the Indian independence movement. So we can have this order in our memory. And followed by Venkataramani because he was born in 1891. He was slightly younger than Sarojini Naidu. And followed by R.K. Narayan and Raja Rao. They were both born in the 20th century. Right? So if we know at least some order, who comes first or at least who comes last, we will be able to arrange the chronology. It's not necessary that we'll have to read every birth order of Indian writers like that. Okay, it's just enough if you know at least 1 or 2 writers in the list. Question 6. Which of the following works are graphic narratives? The option is 1, B, C and E. Bhimayana of Sri Vidya Nadarajan and S. Anand, Munnu, a boy from Kashmir by Malik Sajid, and option E, This Side, That Side, Restoring Partition by Vishwajyoti Ghosh. So what are graphic narratives? Graphic narratives are works that combine text and visual art. And you have 2 other works, right, which are left out. The Feast of Roses by Indu Sundaresan It's a non-graphic narrative. It's actually a historical novel about Mehrunissa, the Mughal empress, right? And a fine balance, option D, a fine balance, wrote by Rohinton Mistry. Again, it's not a graphic narrative because it is set in India's emergency period, right? And it's a prose work and not a graphic narrative. So if you at least know the Feast of Roses or a fine balance doesn't come under graphic narratives, it will be helpful to cut down the options. Question 7. Which of the following statements are correct? I'll just read out the options for you. The term performativity was coined by Derrida. B. The idea of meme was originally coined by Richard Dawkins. C. The term the culture industry was coined by Adorno and Horkheimer. D. The term ideological state apparatus was coined by Bakhtin. And E. The term womanism was coined by Alice Walker. So the correct answer is B, C and E. These options are right. So what is the mistake in the other options? So the term, option A, the term performativity was coined by not Derrida but Judith Butler. And the term ideological state apparatus was not coined by Bakhtin but it was coined by Louis Althusser. And question 8. Arrange the following children's book in the correct chronological order of their publications. So the correct chronological order is starting with J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, followed by William Golding's The Lord of the Flies, then C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and Philip Pullman's Northern Lights, and the last one being J.K. Rowling's The Goblet of Fire. So it's quite difficult to answer this chronology based on the publications, but if you at least know which author was born first or who wrote in which century, we can at least come to a conclusion. See, in these writers we can understand that J.K. Rowling wrote her books in late 20th century, right? So she might be coming at the last. So we can put her as the last option, A. A might come in the last. So we have only two options, option 1 and option 2. So out of these two options we can select one. Question 9. Which among the following statements are true about the autobiography of an unknown Indian? A, C, D only. It is an autobiographical text written by Niraj C. Chowdhury. Unabashed Anglophilia of the author made this work controversial and it was published in 1951. Who among the following does not belong to angry young men generation of British novelists? So the correct answer is J.B. Priestley. So all the others, Amos Kingsley, John Osborne, Colin Wilson, they all come under angry young men. So who are these angry young men? The angry young men, a generation, is a group of British writers and intellectuals who were in the 1950s and early 1960s. Okay, they talked about the social, political, cultural norms of post-war Britain. Question 11. Which among the following are not the genuine sources of the sublime as cited by Longinus? The correct answer is A and D only. Creation of imaginative feelings and the general effect of dignity and elevation. Question 12. Which text among the following is a sequel to Louisa Mary Alcott's novel Little Women? So the sequel is Good Wives. Question 13. What was the immediate motivation for Philip Sidney to write Apology for Poetry as a defense of poetry? So an attack on poetry in the School of Abuse by Stephen Gosson is the right answer. The option is 3. Question 14. Arrange the following detective novels of Agatha Christie in the correct chronological order of their publication. So the answers would be D. The Mysterious Affair at Styles, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, Murder in the Orient Express, followed by Death on the Nile and Sparkling Cyanide. Question 15. Which of the following definitions or statements are correct? The correct options are B, D and E only. So let's just read out what are they. Poetic justice is a term invented by Thomas Rhymer to convey the idea that evil is punished and virtue is rewarded. D. Nihilism is a word invented by Turgenev in his novel Fathers and Sons. E. Caxton, in preface to Mallory's La Morte, the author listed the 9 heroes of late medieval literature. So let's check which options are not right. Option A, the term nation language is coined by Kamau Braithwaite. It's not Derek Walcott. And option C, the term neocolonialism was coined by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. That's wrong. The term neocolonialism was coined by Kwame Nkrumah. Question 16. Arrange the following plays of G.B. Shaw in the correct chronological order of their publication. The correct answer is option 2. Arms and the Man, Man and Superman, Pygmalion, followed by Saint Juan, and Too True to Be Good. Question 17. Which statements are true about Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales? The correct option is A, C and D only. The general prologue describes a meeting of 29 pilgrims in the Tabardin. The Canterbury Tales is written in prose and verse of various meters. Option D, only 23 pilgrims tell stories and there are only 24 stories told altogether. So why is option B wrong? The Parson's Tale is an introductory tale that deals with 7 virtues. No, the Parson's Tale is a last tale. And similarly, the option E, the Prioress Tale, tells about the murder of a mother by a child. So this tale includes themes of violence and innocence, with the boy's mother grieving his death. Okay, the murder of the mother is not told here. Question 18. Which of the following statements are correct? Deixis is a term used by Plato to mean statement and by Aristotle to mean narration. It's wrong. Okay. Actually, Plato uses deixis to mean narration or telling, and Aristotle also uses it to mean narration, but emphasizes it as one mode of storytelling alongside mimesis. So Plato doesn't use deixis as a statement, but rather as a narration or storytelling. Okay. Then option B is right. Foucault's term biopolitics refers to the attempts of the government to rationalize the problem. Option C is also right. Hypertext is a term that refers to a second degree literature made up of works which allude to or derive from hypertext. And option D is wrong. Desiring machines is a concept introduced by Antonio Gramsci. No, the concept of desiring machines was introduced by French philosophers Gilles Deleuze and Félix Guattari. Right, Gilles Deleuze and Félix Guattari in the collaborative work Anti-Oedipus, which is part of their larger project called Capitalism and Schizophrenia. If you have ever come across that, you would know. So in this work, Deleuze and Guattari uses the term desiring machine to describe the unconscious mechanism of desire that drive human behavior and social systems. So question 19, and also the last option, which we didn't check the last option. Option E, dream work is a psychoanalytical term to describe the mechanism that transforms raw material of a dream into a manifest content. So this concept is actually developed by Freud, right? Then question 19. Which among the following is not a novel written by Jean Rice? Golden Child was written by Claire Adam. The other 3 novels were written by Jean Rice. So what are the 3 novels? Quartet, Good Morning Midnight and Voyage in the Dark. Question 20. Alexander Pope's famous quote, "A little knowledge is a dangerous thing," appears in which one of the following works? It appears in Essays on Criticism, which was published in the year 1711. Then question 21. Who among the following friends of Every Man, the main protagonist of the best known morality play Every Man, stays with him when he leaves the world to face death? So in the play Every Man, in the morality play, one person stays with every man when he faces death. that is called as good deeds. Question 22. Who among the following was not associated with Lake School of Poetry? The correct answer would be William Blake. So, who are the Lake poets? The Lake poets were a group of English romantic poets of early 19th century. They lived around the Lake District of England. Question 23. The first regular English tragedy, Gorboduc, contains 5 acts. And the first 3 acts were written by Thomas Norton. Identify the author who wrote the remaining 2 acts. So, first 3 of Gorboduc was written by Thomas Norton and the last 2 were written by Thomas Sackville. Question 24. Which statement among the following is rightly an invective? So, the correct answer is denunciatory, abusive or vituperative speech or writing. So, what is an invective actually? What's the meaning of invective? The meaning of invective is nothing but it's a form of abusive speech. So, the correct option is A, because what is denunciatory? It's strong condemnation, abusive again insulting, vituperative means a speech or writing that's filled with bitter criticism. So, the first option would suit aptly for the question. Why? Because the second option consists of eulogizing speech, formal speech, okay, and the third one, speech or writing that establishes a belief in God. No, that doesn't suit the question. And fourth one, speech or writing that is essentially appreciative of a person. No, invective doesn't appreciate anybody. It's a form of abusive speech. Okay. Question 25. Which statement among the following rightly defines an epithet? So, the correct option is 2. An adjectival phrase used to define a characteristic quality or attribute of some person or thing. So, this is an example of epithet. Paris, the city of lights. So, the city of lights, it's actually an epithet. Okay. Question 26. Which statement rightly define or describe utopia and dystopia? The correct options are B and D only. Sir Thomas More was the first to apply utopia to literary genre when he named his imaginary republic Utopia. And option D, Orwell's 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World are dystopian or anti-utopian texts. So, let's explore the options which are not right. Option A, Sir Thomas More's Utopia is an essay in 4 books. No, Sir Thomas More's Utopia 1516 is a novel or a prose fiction in just 2 books. And then option C, Thomas More's Utopia was originally written in English. It's wrong. Thomas More's Utopia was originally written in Latin. And option E, More's Utopia was translated into French, German and Spanish by Ralph Robinson. No, Thomas More's Utopia was translated only into English by Ralph Robinson. And question 27. In his work, The Postmodern Condition, Jean-Francois Lyotard announced the eclipse of grand narratives and sought to declare the death of, the correct answer is classical socialism. Actually, he says that instead we are embracing smaller, more local narratives in place of universal truths. Okay, we are moving away from universal truths. So, basically he said that the world is too complex for one big story to explain it all. So, he says that there is the death of classical socialism. Question 28. Who among the following called John Dryden as a father of English criticism and affirmed that modern English prose began with Dryden's essay of dramatic poesy? The correct answer is Samuel Johnson. So, Samuel Johnson called John Dryden as a father of English criticism. Question 29. Arrange the following philosophers or theorists in the correct chronological order of their birth. So, the correct option is 1. Walter Benjamin, followed by Michael Buckton and Simon de Beauvoir and Roland Barthes, and finally John Baudrillard. Right? And how to remember these writers? When we think of all the early 20th century thinkers, okay, they start with Walter Benjamin and followed by Michael Buckton. These people were born in the 1890s, and most of the Simon de Beauvoir's work are in the 20th century. So she must have been born around the year 1900s. Then followed by Roland Barthes, and finally John Baudrillard. Okay, because we know that the birth year of John Baudrillard is 1929. Okay, if you don't know, just listen and learn it. Yeah. And question 30. Arrange the following works in the correct chronological order of their publications. Mulk Raj Anand's Untouchable, followed by Ahmed Ali's To Light in Delhi, and K.A. Abbas' Tomorrow is Ours, a novel of the India of today, Mulk Raj Anand's, and followed by Manohar Malgonkar's Distant Dream, and finally Chaman Nahal's Azadi. So again here we start with the pre-independence works such as Mulk Raj Anand and Ahmed Ali. So the pre-independence works are Mulk Raj Anand and Ahmed Ali, and then move into post-independence period where we have K. Abbas and Chaman Nahal, and finally ending with Manohar Malgonkar. Okay. Question 31. We have to match the post-colonial writers with their texts. So if we at least know one text name of any of these writers, it would be very easy for us to match the other options. So the first one, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, her Ngugi wa Thiong'o's work is The Language of Languages, Amy Ciceri's work Desire on Colonialism, Frantz Fanon's work Towards the African Revolution, and Chinua Achebe's work There Was a Country. Then question 32. While documenting, when is a block quotation used in prose? So the correct option is if a quotation is more than 4 lines, we use block quotations. And question 33. Who among the following was not associated with the Bloomsbury group? So Virginia Woolf is associated, John Maynard Keynes is associated, Lytton Strachey is associated. The only person who is not associated with the Bloomsbury group is Edmund Husserl. Why? Because he was a German philosopher and he founded the philosophy of phenomenology. Okay, but we have 10 major writers in the Bloomsbury group. Kindly look into it and study it. Okay. Question 34. According to Dhananjaya, there are 5 elements of the plot parallel with the 5 stages of the action. From these respectively arrives the 5 junctures. Samdhi. What is the correct sequence of these junctures? So starting with Muga, okay, which is the opening or the introduction, and then Pradimuga, which is progression or development, and Garbha, main body or climax, followed by Avamarsa, which is the falling action, and finally it ends with D, Upasamhriti, which means overall dramatic experience, right? So I'll just explain one concept here. So according to Dhananjaya, there are 5 junctures, right? Upasamhriti doesn't come under the 5 junctures, but we have Upasamhriti in the options. Okay, so what we do is we put that as a last option while selecting the answer, because the order, the first 4 is right, the first 4 is order is given correctly in the choice. 1 Muga is given, Pradimuga is given, Garbha is there, Avamarsa is there, but we don't have the 5th one, Nirvana. Instead we have Upasamhriti, okay, but Nirvana is the 5th juncture. So since we don't have that in the option, we go to the next option, which is Upasamriti, which means overall dramatic experience, and finally conclude the question. Okay. Question 35. So Thomas Browne's longest work, Vulgar Errors, is about option A, the mistaken beliefs of the poorly educated. Question 36. Which of the following fall under the category of works fall under the category of LGBTQ+? Okay, so the correct option is 2, which is B, C and D. D, Transition Baby by Tori Peter, Red, White and Royal Blue by Cassie McQuiston, Safe Space by Alyssa Huynh, and The first option does not come under LGBTQ+. Okay. And question 37. See, if you don't know all these writers, just listen to them, right? At least we would know that these people come under the category of LGBTQ+, and these writers do not come under LGBTQ+. Okay, just listen as I read out. Question 37. Who among the following are the recipients of the Nobel Prize in Literature? The correct option is A, C and E only. Orhan Pamuk, Harold Pinter and Margaret Atwood. Though Somerset Maugham was a literary writer, very great writer, he didn't receive the Nobel Prize. Question 38. Arrange the following works by South Asian writers in the correct chronological order of the publications. The correct answer is, I have listed it down. The options are wrong, so I have listed out the correct options. The options are Desirable Daughters by Bharati Mukherjee, followed by The Last Queen by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni, and Cartography by Kamala Shamsi, The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, and finally The Inheritance of Laws by Kiran Desai. You can also just cross check whether I have done correctly this question, because the options are not rightly given, so I have made the alterations. Question 39. Arrange the following texts in the correct chronological order of their publications. So the correct option is 3. B. Beowulf, followed by Fairy Queen and Paradise Lost, and then Pilgrim's Progress, followed by Endymion. So we know the few publication years, right? Paradise Lost 1667, Fairy Queen between 1590 to 1596, Endymion 1818, and we know Beowulf as being the oldest English epic poem. Pilgrim's Progress, sometimes we know, sometimes we not know the year. But if you know at least a few of these years, you would be able to easily crack this question. Question 40. A palindrome is a word or sentence which reads the same both ways. For example, madam. If you read it from the left to right, it's the same, and if you read it from the right to the left, it's again the same word. Question 41. Arrange the following works of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the correct chronological order of their publications. So to answer such type of questions, just go through the list of Indian writers, their works in the chronological order at least once. Okay, it might be helpful for you. At least at a spark of the moment it might come to you, right? So the correct option is 3. The Problem of the Rupee, its Origin and Solution, 1923, followed by The Annihilation of Caste, 1936, Buddha and his Dhamma, 1957, Federation versus Freedom, 1939, Mr. Gandhi and Emancipation of Untouchables, 1943, and finally Buddha and his Dhamma, 1957. Question 42. A list of poems are given on the left side and the name of the poets are given on the right. So we are asked to match it. The Idylls of the King was written by Alfred Tennyson. Dramatic Lyrics was written by Robert Browning. Sonnets from the Portuguese was written by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And Poems and Ballads is written by A.C. Swinburne. Question 43. Matching the term with the theorist or critic. Culture, Industry, Adorno and Horkheimer. Anxiety of Influence, Harold Bloom. Cultural Materialism, Raymond Williams. Logism is by Michael Buckton. So question number 44. How the words from a language other than English are written in a research paper? The answer is in italics. Question 45. What is the name of the first ship to transport indentured laborers from India to Trinidad and Tobago in 1845? So the name of the ship is Fath al-Razak. I have given the right spelling there. Please take note of it. So where is Trinidad and Tobago located? It's in southern Caribbean, that area. Okay. So question 46. Matching with a quote with the correct novelist. The first quote, happiness is but the occasional episode in a general drama of pain. So this was said by Thomas Hardy. And the second quote, be still when you have nothing to say, when genuine passion moves you. Say what you have got to say and say it hot. D.H. Lawrence. And C, eternity is set not to be an extension of time but an absence of time. It's by Graham Greene. Vices are sometimes only virtues carried to excess. It's written by Charles Dickens. Question number 47. Who among the following is the author of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings? Maya Angelou. Question 48. List of comedy writers and their works are given here. So let's just match it. The first option, The Man of Mode, was written by Sir George Etheridge. The Country Wife by William Wycherley. The Old Bachelor by William Congreve. The Provoked Wife by Sir John Vanbrugh. Question 49. So the list of prizes are mentioned here and followed by when they started giving these prizes officially, right? So the first prize, Booker Prize. Booker Prize was given in the year was given in the year 1968. Pulitzer Prize 1917, Nobel Prize 1901, and Poet Laureate began in 1668. So I'll just explain shortly what is Booker Prize. Booker Prize is the best original, it's given for the best original novel written in the English language and published in UK and Ireland. Pulitzer Prize, it's awarded annually in the United States for excellence in journalism, literature, music, etc. And the Nobel Prize is awarded annually by the Swedish Academy to authors for their outstanding literary achievement. Poet Laureate, as we all know, is an honorary position given to a poet by a government or an institution. We all know that the United Kingdom gives Poet Laureate to most authors, and we have a list of those authors too. Question 50. Which of the following parameters are emphasized in MLA Handbook's 9th edition? Chapter title, Principles of Inclusive Language. So the answer is avoid negatively judging others' experience. Use a dictionary to check for offensive terms. And E, make reference to identify relevant sources. Who among the following stated that true philosopher and a true poet are one, and a beauty which is truth and a truth which is beauty aim of both? So it was told by Ralph Waldo Emerson in his essay titled Nature. Question 52. Which among the following novelists remarked that falsehood is so easy, truth so difficult? Examine your words well and you will find that even when you have no motive to be false, it's a very hard thing to say the exact truth even about your own immediate feelings. It was one of the famous quote by George Eliot in the novel Adam Bede. Question number 53. Which among the following critics stated that the object of study in literary science is not literature but literariness? That is what makes a given work a literary work. So the critic name is Roman Jacobson. Question number 54. Women novelists and their novel. So Fanny Burney wrote Evelina, Annie Bronte wrote Agnes Grey, Pearl Buck wrote The Good Earth, Nadine Gordimer wrote My Son's Story. Question number 55. Arrange the following novels in the correct chronological order of their publication. So the correct order is Kantapura, followed by So Many Hungers, All About H. Hatter, Music for Mohini, and finally Waiting for the Mahatma. So let's just check who wrote these books. So Many Hungers was written by Babani Bhattacharya, All About H. Hatter by G.V. Desani, Music for Mohini again by Babani Bhattacharya, Waiting for the Mahatma by R.K. Narayan, Kantapura by Raja Rao. Question 56. Which among the following statements are true about Panchatantra? So it's option 3, which is B, D and E only. So Panchatantra is a manual for the instructions of the sons of a king in the principles of good conduct. Tantra Kya Ika is one of the oldest redactions of Panchatantra. And E, Panchatantra is divided into 5 parts. Question number 57. Which of the following stories deals with the theme of partition? It's Option 3, A, C and D only. The novels by Danda Ghost, Jila Watan and Lajwan T. So, the second book, Garwali, was based on the complexities of human emotions, and Rudali is written by Mahashweta Devi and it's about professional mourners. So, it doesn't deal with the theme of partition, these two works. Question number 58. Who among the following writers were associated to Harlem Renaissance? So, the correct answer is C, D and E only. Alan Locke, Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston. So, we have two other writers, Leslie Jamison and Stephen King. So, Leslie Jamison is an American author who wrote mostly introspective works. Stephen King, mostly his works deal with suspense, fantasy. So, if you have ever watched the movie Shawshank Redemption, it's an adaptation of Stephen King's novella titled Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. Question number 59. Which among the following is not a play written by Eugene O'Neill? So, the play which is not written by Eugene O'Neill is The Plough and the Stars, which was written by Zeno Casey. So, let's look at the works written by Eugene O'Neill. Anna Christie, Strange Interlude, All God's Children Got Wing. Question number 60. Identify the historical plays not written by Shakespeare. The correct answer is A and E only. So, we have I have given you a list of historical plays written by Shakespeare for your better understanding here. So, we have the first tetralogy, Henry VI Part 1, Henry VI Part 2, Henry VI Part 3, Richard III, and followed by the second tetralogy, Richard II, Henry IV Part 1, Henry IV Part 2 and Henry V. So, King John and Henry VIII are considered standalone history plays. They don't come under either of the tetralogies. Question number 61. Arrange the following works of Raymond Williams in the correct chronological order of their publication. So, the answer would be Culture and Society, The Long Revolution, Modern Tragedy, The Country and the City and Keywords. So, just look at how the questions are asked based on chronology from literary theory, right? Australian writers, Indian writers, etc. Question number 62. They have given you a set of linguistic or grammatical terms along with their meaning or definition. So, what is portmanteau word? Portmanteau word is a word formed by combining two or more words. For example, brunch and smog. So, what is brunch? It's a combination of the words breakfast and lunch. And smog, smoke plus fog. Second one, philology, study of the historical development of languages over time. C, phatic language. So, what is phatic language? Used for establishing an atmosphere and the communication of feelings rather than ideas. So, examples include hi, how are you, good morning, nice weather today, isn't it? So, all these they don't give any information or any content. So, it comes under phatic language. There is also something called non-verbal phatic communication, where the phatic communication can be non-verbal, such as wave, a nod, a smile, okay, which is used in several social interactions. The last one, phantom word. A phantom word is something like option D, phantom word, a word that exists through the error of scribe, printer or lexicographer. A lot, for example, a lot, but especially in typing, people write it as a lot together. It's actually two separate words, a lot. Okay, so that's a phantom word. Question number 63. Who among the following coined the term stream of consciousness? So, it is coined originally by William James in the year 1890. We have read only his name throughout most of our books, and even if you search in Google, it will be only William James. But we don't have that option in the question paper. So, how are we going to select the answer? So, after William James, who first used the term? It was May Sinclair in the year 1918. So, we just choose that option, right? And who popularized the word stream of consciousness? Virginia Woolf in her work To the Lighthouse. Okay, so who coined the term stream of consciousness? William James. Who first used the term? May Sinclair. And who popularized it? Virginia Woolf. Question number 64. Which of the following statements are true about Bhavabuddhi's Uttararma Charita? So the correct answer is A, C and D. The time space of the play is divided into two broad sections or acts. It's a play based on Ramayana. Its theme has been derived from the last canto of the Ramayana. So these are the correct answers. We do not know why the other two options are right. Okay. So, but we should also know who was Bhavabuddhi. So Bhavabuddhi was an ancient Indian playwright and poet. He is considered the greatest figure in classical Sanskrit literature, and he lived during the 8th century Common Era. So his other works include Malati Madhava. So this work, Malati Madhava, tells the story of the love between the princess Malati and the young Brahmin Madhava. And the other work is Mahavira Charita. So Mahavira Charita is about the Indian emperor and hero Mahavir, who explored themes of heroism, virtue and challenges faced by the ruler. So question number 65. Retellings and its authors. Sham, an illustrated retelling of the Bhagavata. Devdutt Pattanik, War of Lanka. Amish Tripathi. Ahalya's Awakening. Kavita Kane. Ajaya, Epic of the Kaurava clan. Anand Neelagandan. Question number 66. Who among the following define taste as that faculty of the soul which discerns the beauties of an author with pleasure and the imperfections with dislike? It is Samuel Johnson in his work The Rambler. How many knights feature in Edmund Spenser's Fairy Queen? The answer is 12. And question number 68. A list of authors along with their text is given. So you'll have to match the correct author with the text. The first author, Sally Morgan, wrote My Place. Monica Claire, Caro Brand, Nugi Garimara wrote Caprice, a Stockman's Daughter. Alexis Wright wrote Plains of Promise. So even if you don't know these writers, just listen to it and get to know at least their names and their works. So these authors are indigenous Australian authors. Question number 69. Cultural critic theorist along with the work is given. We'll have to choose the right pair. Raymond Williams, Preface to Film. Herbert Marcuse, One Dimensional Man. Frederick Jameson, Postmodernism or the Cultural Logic of Late Capitalism. Richard Hogarth wrote The Uses of Literacy. So Frederick Jameson is usually connected with postmodernism. So if you can identify that, okay, C is 1. We have only one option with that choice. So we have only this option to be right. Okay, question number 70. According to MLA handbook, the mechanics of prose refers to technical questions that writers must follow. These include, so the answer is spelling, punctuation, capitalization, style of numbering. Question number 71. Arrange the following campus novels in the correct chronological order of their publication. The answer is Evelyn Waugh's Brideshead Revisited, Mary McCarthy's The Groves of Academy, Malcolm Bradbury's The History Man, J.M. Coetzee's Disgrace, and Philip Roth's The Human Stain. Question number 72. The poem France an Ode is written by S.T. Coleridge. So to remember this question number 71, okay, there is no other go, but then you should at least know which writer was born first, at least their birth order. Okay, J.M. Coetzee has written works only in the late 20th century, so he might be at the last. So with that clue in your mind, you can at least select the correct option. So moving on to question number 73. Arrange the following texts of critical theory in the correct chronological order of their publication. So we actually know Jacques Derrida's of grammatology. We have learned that in our masters several times, right? We at least know the year. So it will be 1967, followed by Roland Barthes' mythology. It's 1957. Okay, so we'll try to arrange this. So the first one would be Roland Barthes' Mythologies, followed by Jacques Lacan's Écrits, and then Jacques Derrida's Of Grammatology, and Michel Foucault's Archaeology of Knowledge, and finally Jean-Francois Lyotard's The Postmodern Condition, a report on knowledge. I given the years for your reference, kindly look into it. Question number 74. Which of the following works are categorized under science fiction? So the options, the correct answer is Wendy Ma's Mango Shaped Space, Umberto Eco's Travels in Hyperreality, Frank Schwarzing's The Swarm. So the nationality of these writers, Wendy Ma's is an American, Umberto Eco Italian, Frank is German. Okay, so the other two works, Haruki Murakami's The Wind Up Bird Chronicles is based on magical realism, and Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go is a dystopian novel. So these two doesn't come under science fiction. Who among the following published a series of essays titled The New Criticism? The answer is John Crowe Ransom. Question number 76. Which of the following citations of an article published in a journal is in the correct format according to MLA Handbook 9th edition? The correct option is the fourth option. So we have the author's name, okay, in reverse order, the last name and the first name followed by the first name, and then the title of the article. That in the title of the article, the major words are capitalized and the title is put in quotation marks, and then we have the title of the journal, American periodicals. The journal article should be italicized, okay, and the first letter of each major word is capitalized, and followed by the volume and issue number, volume 26, number 2, and then year of publication 2016, and finally the page range 149 to 66. Here the American periodicals is not italicized, but since we have no other option which has these correct order, we choose the least correct order, okay, because in the first option you see the year at the beginning, so this wouldn't come at all, and the second option you see it starts with the article name, so this is also not right, and in the third one you see that the journal name comes journal name comes prior to the title of the article, so this is also not right. So the most relevant one could be the fourth one. Okay. Question number 77. Who among the following is the author of the implied author and the act of reading? The answer is Wolfgang Isser. Question number 78. So who founded these theatres? Abbey Theatre was founded by W.B. Yeats. Abbey Theatre is considered to be the national theatre of Ireland and it's central to Irish drama and culture. Theatre of the Absurd, founding figure was Martin Esslin. Okay, so what is Theatre of the Absurd? They had themes of meaninglessness and existentialism, and their theatric plays had fragmented and illogical plots and dialogue. And the third one, Hope Theatre. Hope Theatre is by Philip Henslow. So they focus on mostly hopeful and optimistic themes. And finally, the Theatre of Silence. The Theatre of Silence focus on non-verbal communication such as mime and visual storytelling. So Theatre of Silence is by Jean-Jacques Bernard. Question number 79. Who among the following invented Inkscape and Instress? It's G.M. Hopkins. So what is Inkscape? I'll just tell in one word. Inkscape is the inner essence, and Instress, the experience of that essence is called Instress. So to just make you remember, to help you remember what is it, I am just giving a one word explanation. And question number 80, diaspora writer and their works. So Vikram Seth wrote From Heaven Lake, V.S. Naipaul, The Mask of Africa, Salman Rushdie, Knife, and finally Jhumpa Lahiri, The Lowland. So we are all familiar with this person, Jhumpa Lahiri's Lowland. So if you are able to at least find one answer, you will be able to crack this. Question number 81. What is the title of Mary Wollstonecraft's autobiographical novel? It is called Mary, a Fiction. Question number 82. Who among the following English transports of the Bible was burned to death for his beliefs? However, he is remembered for his careful and important work on translation. It is William Tyndale. Question number 83. Which periodical was started by Joseph Addison and Richard Steele after closing of the Spectator? Closing, it's not, the spelling is wrong. Closing of the Spectator. It is Guardian. Question number 84. Who among the following was known as the Lady of Christ during his college days at Cambridge? The answer would be John Milton, because it said that he kept on learning and did not take part in any activities, and he looked very fair. So, it is considered the Lady of Christ during his college days at Cambridge. Question number 85. Arrange the following works of Black British writers in the correct chronological order of the publication. The answer would be George Laming's The Pleasures of Exile, Carol Phillips' The European Trip, Yasmin Alibi's Brown's No Place Like Home, Mike Phillips' London Crossings, a biography of Black Britain, and finally Echo Eshun's Black Gulf of the Sun, Searching for Home in England and Africa. Question number 86. Identify the plays that John Fletcher wrote in collaboration with Francis Beaumont. The answer is C and E. Cupid's Revenge and The Maid's Tragedy. Question number 87. Who among the following writers have played a significant role in the Australian Aboriginal movements? So, the answer would be B, C and E. Udgeru, Nunukal, Jack Davis, and finally Kevin Gilbert. So, the famous poem of Udgeru is We Are Going. Question number 88. Who among the following observed that the artistic critic, like the mystic, is an antimonium always? So, it was told by Oscar Wilde in the work The Critic as Artist. Question number 89. Which of the 19th century novel portray disabled characters in them? The correct answer is Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, because it has a character named Lizaveta Ivanovna. So, she is considered a mentally challenged person and she is a sister of Dunya. And the next option is Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol has a disabled character named Tiny Tim. Okay, Tiny Tim is the youngest son of Bob Cratchit. So, he's considered as a disabled character in this work. And finally, Melville's Moby Dick. In Melville's Moby Dick, we have a character called Captain Ahab. Okay, he has a prosthetic leg made of whalebone. So, these three are considered as these three works which has disabled characters in them. Question number 90. Lal Singh Dil, the Dalit writer, he wrote in Punjabi, he writes in Punjabi, Urmila Power, Marathi, and Tulsi Ram, Hindi, followed by Devanur Mahadeva, Kannada. And we come to the last set of questions, which is a comprehension questions. So, we'll have to just read these lines. All around me are words and words and words. They grow on me like leaves, they never seem to stop their slow growing from within. But I tell myself, words are a nuisance. Beware of them, they can be so many things. A chasm where running feet must pause to look a sea with paralyzing waves. A blast of burning air, or a knife most willing to cut your best friend's throat. Words are a nuisance, but they grow on me like leaves on a tree. They never run to stop their coming from a silence somewhere deep within. So, which one of the following is not a metaphor employed in the poem? So, we see that in this phrase, the throat is not used metaphorically in the poem. Instead, it is referred to literally as part of the imagery of violence. Okay, a knife most willing to cut your best friend's throat. So, the other options, knife, sea and tree, are metaphors used to describe the nature of words. Okay, so here throat doesn't come under the metaphor. The question number 92, a major theme of the poem can best be summarized as the growth or flow of words cannot be restricted. That's the correct answer. And question number 93, which one of the following lines indicates the destructive character of words? a blast of burning air. Question number 94. Which one of the following poetic devices is used in the opening line of the poem? So, the opening line, all round me are words and words and words. Here, the repetition of the phrase and words is an example of anaphora. What is anaphora? Repetition of word or a phrase at the beginning of successive clauses for emphasis. Question number 95. The poem is more similar in style and form to open verse is the right answer. So, what is an open verse? It's a type of poetry that does not fix itself to a specific meter, rhyme scheme or fix its structure. You have other options, occasional verse, sonnet, ode, etc. So, occasional verse is nothing but a poetry written for any specific occasion or event. And sonnet is considered a 14-line poem, usually written in iambic pentameter with a specific rhyme scheme. An ode is a lyrical poem expressing deep emotion, often addressed to a person or an object or an abstract concept also. Okay, so the correct answer here would be open verse. Then we have another comprehension passage. I believe implicitly that the child is not born mischievous in the bad sense of the term. If parents would behave themselves whilst the child is growing, before it is born and after, it is a well-known fact that the child would instinctively obey the law of truth and the law of love. And believe me, from my experience of hundreds, I was going to say thousands of children, I know that they perhaps a finer sense of honor than you or I have. The greatest lessons of life, if we would but stoop and humble ourselves, we would learn not from grown-up learned men, but from the so-called ignorant children. Jesus never uttered a loftier, grander truth than what he said, that wisdom cometh out of the mouth of babes. I believe it. I have noticed it in my experience that if we would approach babes in humility and innocence, we would learn wisdom from them. I have learned that this one lesson, that what is impossible with man is child's play with God, and if we have faith in that divinity which presides on the destiny of the meanest of his creation, I have no doubt that all things are possible, and in that final hope, I believe and pass my time and endeavor to obey his will. If we are to reach peace in this world, and if we are to carry on a real war against war, we shall have to begin with children. And if they will grow up in their natural innocence, we won't have to struggle. We won't have to pass fruitless, idle resolutions, but we shall go from love to love and peace to peace until at last all the corners of the world are covered with the peace and love for which unconsciously or unconsciously the whole world is hungering. So, question number 96. Which phrase rightly encapsulates the central message of the passage? So, the second option, for even the wisest can learn incalculably much from children. So, we came across this idea while we were reading the passage, yeah? If not, kindly read it again and get to know the right answer. Question number 97. What does a real war signify in the phrase, a real war against war? So here, the real war against war means a war against self-conceit and prejudices. Okay. It refers to the internal battle against selfishness, prejudices, arrogance. So these are considered as obstacles in achieving peace and love in the world. Question number 98. What, according to the passage, is needed to spread peace and love in the world? So, the second option, preservation of natural innocence. So, the other three options are not provided in the passage. So, we will naturally go with the second option. Question number 99. What kind of a passage is this? The passage is persuasive because it talks about specific viewpoint and it advocates a specific viewpoint. What is it? The need for adults to learn from the natural innocence of children to achieve peace and love. So the writer aims to convince readers of this perspective here. And question number 100. Which will of God is the author referring to in the line, I believe and pass my time and endeavor to obey his will? So the correct option would be to turn towards children in humility and innocence to learn wisdom. So, and that wraps up a detailed breakdown of the NET 2024 August Shift 1 question paper. I hope this revision session helped you get a clearer understanding of the questions and boosted your confidence for the exam. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. Go ahead, do it right now. And if you want more in-depth exam preparation tips and strategies, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you.